Be me, 22, and sharing a crusty apartment with my college roommate Jake. Typical broke student life, ramen dinners and splitting utilities 3 ways because money is pain. Jake's sister Annie visits every few weeks. She's 20 and goes to community college nearby. Always thought she was cute, but never made a move because bro code, and also she seems way out of my league. Annie is one of those girls who's effortlessly pretty, but acts like she doesn't know it. Always wearing oversized hoodies and making sarcastic comments about everything. Has this habit of stealing food from our fridge and leaving passive-aggressive notes as payment. Took your leftover pizza. Here's $1 in my eternal gratitude, Annie. Honestly, kind of endearing in a chaotic way. Anyway, it's a Tuesday night around 3 a.m., and I'm in that weird half-sleep state. You know, the one where you're conscious, but your body feels like it's made of concrete? Been pulling all-nighters for midterms, and my sleep schedule is completely demolished. Suddenly hear my bedroom door creak open, super slowly. Assume it's Jake being weird, or maybe a burglar. Either way, I'm too tired to care. Decide to keep pretending I'm asleep, because dealing with humans requires energy I don't have. Footsteps getting closer to my bed, definitely lighter than Jake's clunky stomping. Someone sits down on the edge of my mattress, bed springs making that awful squeaking noise. Smell Annie's vanilla perfume, the one that always lingers in the bathroom after she visits. My brain is immediately confused because what the hell is happening right now? She's just sitting there in silence for like 5 minutes. I can hear her breathing. Finally, she starts talking in this super quiet, shaky voice. Okay, so you're definitely asleep right now, which is perfect because I need to practice this. My heart rate spikes, but I keep my breathing steady, full commitment to the sleeping act. I've been wanting to tell someone how I feel for months, and it's literally eating me alive. She pauses, and I hear her fidgeting with something, probably her phone or jewelry. I know this is weird, but talking to unconscious people is easier than therapy. Starts going into this whole monologue about being in love with some guy from her psychology class. His name is Tyler, and apparently he's everything I'm not. Tall, athletic, drives a decent car, has his life together, all that typical Chad nonsense. She's describing their interactions in painful detail, and I'm dying inside. He borrowed my notes last week, and when he handed them back, our fingers touched. I literally haven't washed that hand since Tuesday. The secondhand embarrassment is killing me, but I can't move without blowing my cover. She keeps going, talking about how she's never felt this way about anyone before, how she thinks about him constantly and it's affecting her grades. I've been practicing conversations with you because you're safe and won't judge me. Wait, what now? Apparently I've been her emotional practice dummy this whole time. Explains how she's been having fake deep conversations with me to build confidence. All those times she seemed extra talkative. She was literally using me as Tyler training. You're like the perfect practice boyfriend because you listen and you're not intimidating. Damn, Annie, way to murder my self-esteem while I'm unconscious. She starts rehearsing her confession speech, and it's actually pretty good. Talks about wanting to know him better, suggests studying together. Very smooth approach. I'm genuinely impressed, but also dying because she's never talked to me like this. Spends another 20 minutes perfecting her delivery, trying different tones and phrasings. Okay, I think I've got it now. Thanks for being my practice audience. She gets up to leave, but then sits back down. You know what's funny? You're actually really easy to talk to when you're not awake. Maybe I should drug your food more often. Excuse me, what the actual hell, Annie? She laughs at her own joke and finally leaves, closing the door super carefully. I'm laying there wide awake now, processing what just happened, feeling like I've been emotionally used as a stepping stone for her real crush, but also weirdly honored that she trusts me enough to practice spend the rest of the night staring at the ceiling, questioning everything. Next morning, I'm exhausted, and Jake notices I look like death. Dude, you look worse than usual, which is saying something. Thanks, bro. Really needed that confidence boost. Annie shows up around noon with coffee for everyone, acting completely normal. Makes eye contact with me, and I almost choke on my drink. She has no idea I heard everything, and I'm terrible at keeping secrets. Spends the day being extra chatty with me, probably more Tyler practice. Asks my opinion on random stuff, maintains way too much eye contact. Do you think that guys like girls who are into astrology, or is that a red flag? I tell her most guys don't care as long as she's not reading their birth chart on the first date. She laughs and writes something in her phone, definitely taking notes. This goes on for weeks, Annie using me as her personal Tyler preparation service. I become an expert on this dude's schedule, interests, and favorite coffee order. She practices asking him to study together about 15 different ways, each time getting more confident and natural with her delivery. I'm simultaneously proud of her growth and dead inside about being friend-zoned by proxy. Finally, the day comes when she's ready to make her move. She's wearing a cute dress and actually styled her hair, full effort mode activated. Wish me luck. I'm going to ask Tyler to study for our psych exam. I give her an encouraging smile while internally screaming. She leaves around 2 p.m. and I spend the day anxiously waiting for updates. Jake notices I'm being weird and asks if I have feelings for his sister. Nearly die choking on my energy drink, deny everything with suspicious enthusiasm. Bro, she's like a little sister to me, totally platonic family vibes. Jake looks unconvinced but drops it because he's not great with emotional stuff. Annie comes back around 8 p.m. and she looks absolutely devastated. Eyes are red, makeup is smudged, she's clutching a pint of ice cream. Jake immediately goes into protective brother mode and demands answers. What happened? Do I need to fight someone? Should I get my baseball bat? Annie just collapses on our couch and starts ugly crying. Apparently Tyler said yes to studying together but then completely friend-zoned her, told her she's really sweet but not his type, and he's focusing on school right now. Classic rejection lines that every guy uses when they're trying to be nice. She's taking it really hard because she built up this whole fantasy relationship. Jake is making awkward consoling noises while I'm just standing there uselessly. I'm such an idiot. I thought we had a connection, but I was reading everything wrong. She's spiraling into full self-blame mode, and it's painful to watch. Jake eventually goes to bed because emotional situations make him uncomfortable. Annie is still on our couch, demolishing the ice cream and watching sad movies. I sit down next to her because leaving feels like abandoning a wounded animal. You know Tyler's an idiot, right? Anyone would be lucky to date you. She looks at me with these huge, watery eyes, and my heart does a weird thing. You're just saying that because you're nice, but thanks. We end up talking until like 3 a.m. about rejection and dating and life being unfair. She falls asleep on the couch and I cover her with a blanket. Wake up the next morning to her making breakfast in our kitchen. She's back to normal, Annie, cracking jokes and stealing our food. Thanks for not being weird about my emotional breakdown last night. I tell her it's what friends do and she gives me this strange look. Yeah, friends. Something in her tone makes me think she's processing something. Over the next few weeks, Annie starts hanging around our apartment way more than usual. Jake doesn't notice because he's oblivious, but she's definitely being different with me. More touching, more eye contact, asking my opinion on everything. Starts bringing me coffee without being asked, remembers how I like it. One night we're watching a movie and she puts her head on my shoulder. My brain short circuits because this feels like relationship behavior. You know, all that practice talking helped me realize something. I ask what she means while trying not to breathe too hard. I was practicing being vulnerable with the wrong person. She looks up at me and suddenly we're in one of those movie moments. Before I can overthink it, she kisses me and my brain completely shuts down. When we break apart, she's smiling and I'm probably having a stroke. I should have been practicing on someone who actually cares about me. Turns out all those late-night practice sessions made her realize Tyler was just a distraction. Apparently I was the real crush the whole time, but she was too scared to admit it. We start dating and it's honestly perfect because we already know each other so well. Jake is initially weird about it, but comes around when he sees we're happy. Just don't do gross couple stuff when I'm home. Annie moves in officially after a few months and we're still together. She still steals food from the fridge, but now she leaves love notes instead of IOUs. Sometimes I think about that night when she practiced her confession on sleeping me. Funny how the practice round ended up being more real than the actual performance. My face when I realized I was in love with my roommate's sister the whole time. That feel when the girl of your dreams literally rehearsed falling for you. Life is weird, but sometimes it works out exactly how it's supposed to. Anyway, Tyler ended up dating some girl from his chemistry class. They broke up after 2 weeks because he's apparently emotionally unavailable. Annie just laughed when she heard and said, "Dodged bullet." Meanwhile, we're planning to get our own place next semester. Jake is pretending to be sad, but I know he's excited to have the apartment to himself. Still can't believe the best relationship of my life started with eavesdropping. Moral of the story, sometimes pretending to be asleep leads to finding your soulmate. Or maybe it's that practice makes perfect, even when you're practicing on the wrong person. Either way, Annie got her happy ending and I got mine. In the end, it doesn't even matter because we found each other anyway. Be me, 23, and finally getting my life somewhat together, working at a coffee shop downtown while finishing my computer science degree. Coworker Olivia has been my crush for like 8 months now. She's one of those effortlessly cool girls who knows obscure bands and reads poetry, always wearing vintage band shirts and has this messy bun that somehow looks perfect. I've been orbiting around her like a pathetic satellite this entire time, dropping hints, bringing her favorite pastries, staying late to help with closing, classic nice guy behavior that I'm not proud of but couldn't seem to stop. Olivia is friendly but treats me like furniture, acknowledges my existence when convenient, never picks up on any of my signals or pretends not to notice them. Always talks about other guys she's dating while I'm standing right there dying inside. Oh my god, Marcus from my literature class asked me out, isn't that crazy? Meanwhile, I'm steaming milk and plotting Marcus's demise in my head. Anyway, last month I finally decided to move on because this was getting pathetic. Started using dating apps and actually putting myself out there for once. Matched with this girl, Rachel, who goes to the university across town. She's studying psychology and has this infectious laugh that makes me feel normal. Complete opposite of Olivia in every way. Blonde instead of brunette. Outgoing instead of mysterious. Our first date was at this cheesy mini golf place and she absolutely destroyed me. Wow, you're really bad at this. It's kind of endearing. Second date, we went to a bookstore and she bought me a graphic novel about anxiety. I thought you might relate to the main character. She was right, and it was weirdly thoughtful for someone. I'd known 2 weeks. By the third date, I realized I was actually falling for someone who noticed I existed. Rachel texts me constantly, sends memes, remembers random stuff. I tell her, completely different energy from pining after someone who barely knows my last name. Everything is going great, until Olivia suddenly starts paying attention to me, like the universe has a sixth sense of humor and timing. First sign something was off. Olivia started asking about my weekend plans. Doing anything fun this Saturday? You seem happier lately. I mention I'm seeing someone, and her whole demeanor shifts. Suddenly she's interested in every detail about Rachel. Oh, that's so cute. What's she like? Where did you meet her? Starts sitting with me during breaks instead of scrolling through her phone. Bringing me coffee drinks she makes during slow periods. Tried a new latte recipe, thought you might want a taste test. My brain is confused because this is the attention I've wanted for months. But now it feels weird and suspicious because the timing is too convenient. Tell Rachel about Olivia during one of our late night phone calls. Sounds like she's jealous. Girls can sense when guys are moving on. Rachel is surprisingly cool about it, doesn't seem threatened at all. As long as you're not still hung up on her, I don't care about your coworkers. Problem is, Olivia is ramping up her behavior every day, starts asking for my help with random tasks that she used to do herself. Can you help me reach the espresso beans? I think I pulled something. Olivia is literally 5'7". She doesn't need help reaching anything. Begins complaining about being single and how hard dating is these days. All the guys I meet are either players or boring. Wish I could find someone genuine. The irony is painful because I was standing right there being genuine for months. Starts wearing more makeup to work and doing her hair differently. Suddenly every conversation involves casual touching, hand on my arm type stuff. Oh my god, you're so funny. I never noticed how clever you are. Ma'am, I've been making the same jokes for 8 months. Your memory is selective. Meanwhile, Rachel and I are getting more serious, talking about becoming official. She's planning to transfer to my university next semester to be closer. Everything with Rachel feels natural and easy, no games or mixed signals. Then Olivia discovers Rachel's social media somehow, and the sabotage begins. Starts by casually mentioning Rachel's posts during work conversations. Saw your girlfriend posted about that new restaurant, looks expensive. Immediately suspicious, because I never gave Olivia Rachel's username. Apparently she found Rachel through my tagged photos and went full detective mode. Starts making subtle digs about Rachel's appearance and interests. She seems really sweet, very mainstream taste in everything. I bet she's one of those girls who only reads bestsellers. The comments are always phrased nicely, but with underlying judgment. Olivia begins sharing stories about her own dating experiences during our shifts, talking about guys who seemed perfect but turned out to be disappointing. You think you know someone and then they completely change personalities. Some girls just put on an act until they lock down a relationship. Obviously trying to plant seeds of doubt about Rachel's authenticity. Starts inviting me to hang out outside of work for the first time ever. There's this poetry reading downtown, want to come with me? My friend is having a house party, you should totally come. All the activities I would have killed to do with her 6 months ago, but now it feels manipulative because she's only interested since I'm unavailable. Rachel notices I'm acting weird and asks if everything is okay. I tell her about Olivia's sudden interest and she just laughs. Babe, she had her chance and didn't take it. That's her problem. Rachel's confidence makes me feel stupid for even being affected by Olivia's games. But Olivia isn't done, decides to escalate her campaign, starts showing up to places she knows I'll be with Rachel somehow. Appears at the same movie theater when we're on a date. Oh my god, what a coincidence. I love this director's work. Sits 2 rows behind us and I can feel her staring the entire time. Rachel notices but doesn't say anything. Just squeezes my hand tighter. Next week, Olivia shows up at the campus coffee shop where Rachel and I study, orders something complicated and loud, keeps looking over at our table, starts talking really loudly about her philosophy class and existential literature, basically performing intellectual superiority for my benefit. Rachel whispers, "Your coworker is trying really hard to seem interesting." I'm mortified but also impressed that Rachel sees right through it. Olivia's final move is the most pathetic and desperate. Texts me at midnight on a Tuesday, claiming she needs relationship advice. I know you're good with this stuff. Can I ask you something personal? Calls me crying about some guy who ghosted her after 3 dates. I just feel so stupid. I thought we had a real connection. Spending an hour comforting her while Rachel is asleep next to me. Feel guilty because I'm emotionally cheating in a way, but also vindicated because Olivia is finally opening up to me. She starts calling regularly with boy problems and life crises, each conversation getting more personal and intimate. You're such a good listener. I feel like you really understand me. Meanwhile, Rachel starts noticing I'm always on the phone with someone. Who keeps calling you so late? Is everything okay with your family? Have to lie and say it's my cousin going through a rough patch. Hate lying to Rachel, but don't know how to explain the Olivia situation. Things come to a head when Olivia asks me to drive her home from a party. She's drunk and emotional, keeps talking about missed opportunities. What if I told you I've been noticing you differently lately? Parks outside her apartment, and she leans over like she's going to kiss me. I pull back and tell her I'm with Rachel now and this isn't appropriate. Olivia starts crying and says she's been in love with me for months. I was just scared to ruin our friendship, but now I might lose you forever. Classic confession timing, right when it's too late and too complicated. Tell her I needed to hear this 8 months ago, not now when I'm happy. She gets angry and says Rachel doesn't deserve me. She doesn't understand you like I do. She's just some random girl. I defend Rachel and Olivia, storms out of my car, next day at work. She's giving me the silent treatment. When she does talk, it's purely professional and cold. Starts spreading rumors that I led her on and broke her heart. Tells other coworkers I was pursuing her while dating someone else. My manager pulls me aside to ask about the workplace drama. Just keep your personal life separate from work. We don't need this energy. Rachel finds out about the Olivia situation when she comes to pick me up from where Olivia makes a point of being extra friendly and touchy with me in front of her. See you tomorrow, sweetie. Thanks for covering my shift last week. Never covered her shift. She's just marking territory. Rachel stays quiet until we get to the car. So that's the girl who's been calling you every night. I come clean about everything. The crush, the sabotage, the late night calls. Expect Rachel to be furious, but she just looks tired. I figured something was going on. You've been distant for weeks. She's hurt that I lied, but understands why I was confused. Look, you need to decide what you want because this is exhausting. Tells me she's not going to compete with someone for my attention. If you want to explore things with Olivia, just be honest about it. Rachel gives me space to figure out my feelings, and I realize how stupid I've been. Olivia represents the fantasy of the unattainable girl I built up in my head. Rachel is the reality of someone who actually cares about me as a person. Choose Rachel, obviously, and cut off all non-work contact with Olivia. Block her number, stop engaging with her attempts at conversation. Olivia tries a few more desperate moves like showing up at my apartment. I just want to talk. I think we have something special. Tell her through the door that she had 8 months to explore our something special. I'm happy now, and you need to respect that. Eventually she gives up and starts dating some guy from her creative writing class, suddenly has no interest in me once she has someone else's attention, proves that her feelings were more about winning than actually wanting me. Rachel and I work through the trust issues and become stronger. She transfers to my school and we get an apartment together. Still work with Olivia, but maintain strict professional boundaries. She occasionally tries to restart our friendship, but I keep things surface level. Learn that sometimes the person you think you want isn't the person you need also. Learn that actual love doesn't involve manipulation and games. Rachel and I are still together 2 years later, planning to move across country after graduation. Olivia is engaged to creative writing guy and seems genuinely happy. We can be polite to each other now, but there's no real friendship left. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if she'd been honest about her feelings earlier. But then I remember how much better my life is with someone who chose me from the beginning. My face when I realized I wasted 8 months on someone who only wanted me when I was unavailable. That feel when you dodge a bullet disguised as your dream girl.